This is the ePhoto 46-inch camera slider. You can purchase this exact slider for only $30 new on Amazon, making it one of the cheapest sliders you can buy. Now, for $30 I wasn't expecting much, but over the past few months this slider has been great. Unfortunately, my hand isn't as steady as I would like, and it shows in some of my shots, like the one here. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to motorize this slider using some parts I had laying around the studio. So without any further ado, let's get into it. In order to start this project, I needed a NEMA 17 stepper motor, an A4988 stepper driver, a 12-volt power supply, an Arduino, and a GT2 belt. Luckily, I had all of this stuff laying around with the exception of the belt. This project actually got put on hold for a while because I had to order a longer belt than the one I had. This only cost me an extra $9. Finally, I needed some kind of mounting solution, so I went into Fusion 360 and I ended up with this. Unfortunately, as you'll see later in the video, I messed up the measurements for the screw holes on the stepper motor. I got around it using some hot glue for now though, as I didn't have enough filament left over to print another mount. The best thing about my mounting solution is that it's completely reversible, as it doesn't require any drilling into the slider. You will need 4 M3 30mm screws and 4 M3 nuts. For this build, I didn't have an Arduino, and even if I did, I don't know anything about programming in Arduino. So what I did instead was I used this old MKS Gen L 3D printer board running Marlin, and I'll be controlling the slides using G-code. Now that that's out of the way, I started by installing the stepper motor onto the motor mount, securing it with hot glue. I then mounted the pulley to the pulley mount using this pulley bearing that I had from an old 3D printer. If you don't have this, you can substitute it with a skateboard bearing and use a washer to hold the belt in place. Now I can install the motor mount onto the slider rail using 2 M3 screws. Next, I measured the belt and cut it to length. And then I secured it to the camera plate using a 3D printed part and zip ties. This part just friction fits over the screw on the bottom of the camera plate. Now wrap the belt around the stepper motor, now I can mount the pulley assembly onto the slider rail, but I don't want to tighten it all the way because this will be used to tension the belt later. And now that you've done that, simply wrap the other end of the belt around the pulley. Now to tension the belt, we're just going to pull the pulley assembly away from the stepper motor and tighten it down while holding the tension. And finally, specific to my scenario, I had to add some custom G-code commands to Marlin and then flash it to the motherboard using the Arduino IDE. And there you have it, a motorized camera slider for less than $50, given you have most of the parts laying around. Now for this last segment, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on this $30 slider before and after this mod. When I first got this slider a few months ago, I was kind of surprised at the size. I guess I didn't really think 46 inches was that long. To put that into perspective, that's almost 4 feet. The slider is constructed entirely out of aluminum and feels very premium, especially for the price. The camera mount slides on 4 nylon bearings and can be lubricated using graphite. Unfortunately, since this is a very inexpensive product, the quality control isn't great. On my unit there are a few tight spots along the track, causing the camera to kind of stutter. It isn't super noticeable if you aren't looking, but it's definitely there. My hope is that the motor will kind of smooth this issue out though. But overall, for $30 I think it's a great value for anyone trying to get into shooting video. But now that the slider is motorized, is it any better? Well, I'll let the sample videos speak for themselves. It's a night and day difference. Just look at how much smoother the camera slides, and the speeds are perfectly consistent throughout the length of the track. So that concludes my ePhoto camera slider mod. Why did I do this, you may ask? Well, as I said earlier in the video, I don't have a very steady hand, and I don't like my slide shots to be super fast, so I had to shoot in 60 FPS in order to slow the shots down in post. This made my slide shots look unnatural, and it came with the added disadvantage of image quality, since shooting in 60 FPS requires you to up your shutter speed, which required me to raise my ISO, which adds more noise artifacts to my footage. But that about wraps it up for this one. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. If you would like to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you hit the bell icon so you won't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Later!